33 years old, I discovered my life purpose. And I want to share that journey, that process, that experience with you. Ooh, this is interesting to share. Hi, Shadeen. We have people popping on Instagram. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and Instagram at Hello Boss Teacher. All right, so just give me a thumbs up or a heart and let me know you can hear me. Hey, I'm excited. I don't know why I'm grinning from ear to ear. Like I'm thinking about this, just sharing this, and it feels exciting. I need to stop because my cheeks are gonna start hurting. Okay. Let's just work it out. Work it out. Okay, good. All right, good. So you can hear me. All right, so this is a story of how I found purpose. I don't know how unique it is. But this is my story. And I'm sharing it with the hope that you will be inspired to pursue purpose as well. Because it is the most exciting feeling to be doing the thing that you should be doing with your life, to be doing the thing that you love. It feels nothing like work when I wake up every single day. It just feels exciting. It does, and it doesn't matter. Like I went to bed maybe after 12 last night, just being engrossed in some activities that were completely aligned with my purpose. And I got maybe like 3, 4 hours sleep, and I'm okay. I woke up this morning feeling super perky, ready for the day, did some stuff, just came out of a training, and now I'm on live here with you. So, walking in purpose is just an amazing feeling. And I really, really hope that everybody around me is able to experience that. Like everybody I come into contact with can experience that. So my story. Hi, Raquel. How are you? All right. So my story started when I was about 9 years old. I don't know what happened. I can't tell you the exact moment or the experience that triggered it. All I can tell you is that from the time I was 9, I knew that I wanted to be a teacher. Now, yeah, this is a boring profession. Well, not boring in these times, but it's a boring profession. Like most people would want to be something a little bit more rewarding, financially rewarding. Like in my day, people would think of becoming a doctor, becoming a lawyer, and all those things were very, very popular, right? You would hear engineers popping up. And to me, I just knew. I don't know how I knew what happened. I just knew I wanted to be a teacher. The only teacher I knew personally was my aunt. I had an aunt who was a teacher, and that was it. I don't know if she influenced me or anything. I don't know. It just kind of dawned on me that I wanted to be a teacher. And so from primary school, I had that in the back of my head that I wanted to be a teacher. Now, fast forward to the end of high school, going through high school, putting in my yearbook every single year, what do you want to be when you grow up? Teacher. That was it. At the end of high school, I would have gone to Heart Trust. And this is like a national institution in Jamaica that trains you in different skills. And my intention was to go to Heart Trust to learn how to do food and beverage management because I had fallen in love with food and nutrition while I was in high school. That's one of the subjects that I did. And I thought this is maybe something that I want to pursue. And my intention was to go back into the high schools to teach others meal preparation and the science of food. My mother said to me, "You are not going to Heart. No daughter of mine is going to Heart. My daughter is going to college." Because Heart, if you don't know, is not at the college level. It's like a skills training institution. So it's not, back then, it wasn't considered like a tertiary education that you want to pursue. It's kind of like the place where people who didn't do good in high school, they went to study a skill. That was the perception then. So my mom was like, no daughter of mine is going to Heart. So she was adamant that I was going to college. Right? went to college and enrolled for the home economics management program. So this is me on a journey towards going back into the high school to teach food science. So I enrolled into the home ec program, fainted in a couple of the cooking sessions because all of those the odors and the different seasonings, I was knocked out. Like there's so many times I went into labs, I could not complete my labs, or I dragged myself through the labs because everything was my nostrils and all the flavors and they were just not in sync at all. So I remember one day I passed out while I was doing a lab, and I just, no matter how hard I try, I just wasn't doing a good job at labs. And I got so discouraged, and I was like, maybe this is not for me. I'm not sure, but this is all I've ever wanted to do. So let's see. So I went through college. I went to Northern Caribbean University. And for a while, I didn't know how I was going to make it through college. I eventually dropped out of college because we couldn't afford the school fee. But still, in the back of my head, I wanted to become a teacher. No, I'm having issues with food labs because I'm supposed to be pursuing um, a degree in education to teach high schoolers food science, and I'm having issues with food labs. I'm not doing that great in my subjects. I'm doing good in my education subjects, but the core subjects not that awesome. I hated chemistry, and chemistry was a part of that course of study. I hated the sciences, and I had to study the sciences as a part of being certified in that program. So I honestly didn't see my way out. So in 2008, I I got married, moved to Kingston. This is my first time living in Kingston, Jamaica. And I learned of this thing called early childhood education. Never knew that thing existed before. And it's interesting because how I grew up, the early childhood educators that I'm fully familiar with is Miss Monica up the road. um don't know if Miss Monica had any kind of training or certification, or somebody's auntie or somebody's mother just having a basic school on the veranda, um going down to the infant school and just teaching us. I grew up seeing the women around me, somebody's auntie, somebody's cousin, somebody's mother, being the teacher at the infant school. So I didn't knew there was an actual profession called early childhood education. So I came to Kingston, learned that early childhood education was a thing, was an actual career that you can get certified in. I fell in love with it immediately because I am the person who would be rolling around with the kids all the time. Like I would go to the parties. This is young 20 something Julia. I would go to birthday parties, I would go to friends' house, and instead of hanging out with the adults, I was outside playing with the kids. Then they and I would be playing some kind of games in the living room or something, and I'm always just kind of looking out for them. So when I learned about this profession called early childhood education, or early development, it might be called in some countries, or kindergarten, something, depending on where you are, I absolutely fell in love with it, and I said, this is what I want to study. And so I just scrapped the idea of becoming a high school food science teacher, and just my focus, my lens was on becoming an early childhood professional. And so as I was going throughout my studies, I absolutely love what I was doing. I enjoyed being in the classroom with the kids, and everything just kind of felt aligned. And I remember towards the latter part of getting certified for my degree, I just started to feel a little nudge that there was something more I needed to do. I needed to stretch myself a little bit more than just early childhood, but I didn't know what that was. Like I couldn't figure it out, and I felt uncomfortable even though I was happy. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that was what was happening to me. I was happy pursuing early childhood education. I was enjoying myself in the classroom, but I still felt uncomfortable, like there was something more. And during all that time, I thought to myself, maybe it's because I have not been a certified teacher yet. Because at that point, even though I was teaching from 2006, I was either a substitute teacher, I was just filling in for people on vacation, filling in for people on a year leave, and all those things. So I was never fully certified. What I used to get those jobs was the fact that I had a few college credits in education behind my name. So I was never fully certified. And in the last decade, when I was pursuing my degree, I just felt like something was off. Like I knew I wanted to be a teacher, but something was kind of off. And I could not put my finger on it. And it made me uncomfortable. And so I said to myself, maybe it's because I hadn't gotten my degree yet. Maybe once I get my degree and I land my dream job as an early childhood educator, everything will be all right. And I kept that thought in my head for the entire rest of the time that I was in college. Graduated with my diploma, valedictorian, top of my class. And that was just an exciting moment for me. Went back to pursue my degree, graduated again with top honors, and I'm like, yeah, this is it. So once I got fully certified, I landed a job as a grade one teacher. Now, this is me after teaching for what, over 15 years at that, well, not consistently teaching, but I was in and out of the classroom for over 15 years at that point, not being certified. And then finally landing the teaching job that I thought was going to be my dream job um, in 2016. So this time I'm bossy, I have my degree now. Anybody can talk to me. I have experience behind my name. And the other thing was like I was the techie in the group. Like I was always the techie. Everybody would come to me about their tech stuff because I've been just very much intrigued with how the internet works and how it can improve people's lives since maybe about 2010. Right, so I've really immersed myself in that, and that's how I ended up being an in online business. So I was always a techie in the group, so I was a notch above the rest because most teachers are not tech savvy. Pre-COVID, most teachers were not tech savvy. Post-COVID, a lot of teachers aren't still not tech savvy. So I was always the techie in the group. People were coming to me asking me about their computers to fix this, what website. And so when I graduated, not only did I have that valedictorian certification behind my name, not only did I have the first class honors behind my name, but I also had very practical expertise as a tech education and tech consultant. And so when I finally approached the world of work with all of that ammunition behind my name, I thought, yeah, this is me. I'm ready now. I'm ready to take on the classroom. Julia is going to come into the classroom and mash up the place. Y'all gonna hear my name. And I was just excited. I was really excited and ready to go. But remember that feeling I told you about from before that I was having, that was like I felt a little bit uncomfortable, like there was more. It came back once I landed that job, that feeling came right back. And to make matters worse, I wasn't being paid that great. Most teachers aren't paid great, but I was being paid less than great, if you understand what I'm saying. So by American standards, my salary was around 200 and 240, yeah, about $240 per month, right? That's by American standards. Anybody who's working as a teacher in the US, that's like minimum wage. And so that was great. The environment was there was a lot of pressure, right? In the environment that I was in. It was a brand new school, brand new curriculum. So the school had a lot of growing pains. And we had to work through that. I was not getting enough sleep because I was always doing schoolwork and I barely spent any time with my family. My son was 3 at the time, and the most time I spent with him was on our way to school in the morning and on our way home back in the evening. Literally. By the time we got home, we get him ready for his evening. He'd go to bed and I'd stay up on work. I'd get 3-4 hours sleep in the nights on average. 4 was a lot. And I was just always tired. I was just completely stressed out. I felt overwhelmed, burned out. And even though I was performing well on the job, I wasn't enjoying the system. Like the only thing I enjoyed about being in the classroom was the few hours of contact time I had with my kids. Like, this was my dream. If I could have somebody write my lesson plans, have somebody mark the homework, do the papers, talk to admin, do all the little administrative stuff in the back, and all I had to do was be with the kids and teach, I'd be the happiest teacher around. That's how I look at it. But I wasn't enjoying the entirety of my job at all. And it didn't sit well with me, because I thought, if this is my dream job, then I should be enjoying every single moment of it. Yes, there are going to be hiccups. Yes, things are not going to always work out the way you want, but at least I shouldn't be getting up every single day dreading to go to work, wishing that it was the weekend every single day of the week. And I'm like, I cannot continue to live like this. And so, yeah, I see some comments popping in. People are saying that's the exact same way they feel. That's what a lot of us keep telling ourselves. Yep. Yeah, basic school. Yeah. Yeah, I went to basic school. um, so yeah, that was just how I was feeling in the moment. And I'm like, it cannot be the pay alone. I mean, the pay was ridiculous, but it cannot be this alone. It's like, it was so much more. Like, everything just felt out of place. I felt uncomfortable. It was unsettling. And I thought to myself, I need to figure out what needs to make me happy in my career. And I remember it was interesting that after I resigned, I'll tell you about that. But after I resigned, one of my parents came to me and said to me, Julia, Mrs. Barnes is what they call me. We were praying that you wouldn't leave in the middle of the school year. They were praying that I didn't leave, because I honestly didn't know that it was showing. Like, I would show up perky and with a beautiful smile on my face, have on my makeup, and just trying to hold it together. And it was a culture where teachers would just leave at random, because that's how the school was. Teachers would just leave. Like, when I got the job, I had literally replaced a teacher who, after about 3 weeks into the school year, decided that she couldn't do it anymore, and she quit. That's how I got the job. And so teachers were coming and going, and the parents were watching me to see if I would leave as well, because it was that kind of an environment. And so the pressure of the environment, plus the nudge I had in me for maybe about 4 years before that, there is more to my life than just being boxed inside of a classroom. Everything just came on me. And I had already decided that the end of the school year I was going to leave this job. But in my mind, I would have left that job and probably find something else in education to do. So I'd probably be working up the ranks of the Ministry of Education by now, being in some education technology consultant position, material circle, getting big pay and driving a nice what's the vehicle, the most popular vehicle that these education officers drive? The Toyota, those big Toyotas with the four wheels. So I'd probably be on that trajectory, right? I'm glad I'm not, honestly. But as I was going through that process, and the feeling just kept coming on me so much stronger. There's more to you. There's more to, yes, the Toyota RAV4, the big one, the 4x4 type. Yeah. Every education officer has one of those. So the feeling just kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And I didn't know what to do with it. Interestingly, a few years before, I got bitten by the entrepreneurship bug. I was trained at the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship. I've been trained by JBDC, and I was just trying my hand at different things in the entrepreneurship realm. Nothing would stick, because I wasn't truly passionate about all of them. And I've done so many little odd things in terms of starting a business. But what I struggled with was figuring out how to pair my absolute love for teaching, and the newfound love that I have in entrepreneurship. I had no idea how to pair them. I didn't know what to do. It just felt so confusing. And I didn't know who to talk to about how to connect the dots. So on one hand, I knew I was an entrepreneur by blood. Like, I figured that out a few years ago. But from day one, I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher, and I did not know how to make them connect and do like this. So that was a struggle for me. And so when I left, I finally resigned at the end of the school year. And I took a year off, because by that time I was pregnant. It just kind of would just say, let's just do this. I ain't working, let's do this. So So I became pregnant, took a year off. And even that time, I was contemplating, should I go back into the classroom? I mean, nobody's going to hire a pregnant teacher right now. They don't want to give you a maternity leave. So that kind of bought me some time. And towards the end of my pregnancy, I just made that decision. I'm not going back. It was just it was that. I just needed to figure out what I needed to do outside of the classroom, because that box, that four wall that was boxing me in inside of the classroom, I knew that was not it for me. I mean, initially I thought maybe I'd teach for maybe 20, 25 years and then go and start my own early child institution. That dream has long been dead, because now I understand what purpose is. And so once I delivered my second child, I fell into, I was never clinically diagnosed, but I honestly, when I look back at my experience, I realized that I was in postpartum depression. And during that period, I just felt miserable, really, really miserable, because now I had to face life. I didn't have a job. And I'm not the girl to just sit down and do nothing. I can't do it. It drives me crazy. And so I needed to figure out, okay, Julia, what next? You don't plan to go back in the classroom. You don't even plan to apply for another job. That was out of the question. But I needed to figure out what is next for me. And so I went on a journey. So if you're feeling that feeling, this is a journey I took. You might want to consider it for yourselves. So I went on a journey of just trying to figure out, who is Julia? What is Julia supposed to be doing with her life, her next phase of her life? The teaching thing, my childhood dream, my dream job that I've been dreaming about since I was 9. I landed into that and it didn't feel good. So what is it I'm supposed to be doing next? And so I started reading. I had been reading prior, but I just kind of started to dig deep a lot more. So I was reading a whole lot of books. I was watching a ton of TD Jakes and Les Brown on YouTube. Um, I was listening to podcasts, and I was just trying to soak in as much information as I can about figuring out what's the next step. What's the next step for Julia? Because I had no idea. And in during that process, I went through an entire year of learning. I went through an entire year of learning. Every conference that popped up on Facebook, on Instagram, in my email, I was there. Every seminar, I was there. Every personal development workshop, I was there. Every training, I was there, because I was determined to figure this thing out and live a more fulfilled life. So it was like a year and a half of just learning and figuring stuff out and growing. I see Erica is on. Hi, Erica. And Erica is amazing at just developing people. So I was just going to all of those events, conferences. I was still reading my books. I was still watching YouTube videos. I was still diving deep into podcasts. I was still reading blog post after blog post after blog post and trying to put the pieces together. And I remember during a 3-month period, shortly after I had my daughter, like a million light bulbs started to go off in my head. And I wish I had my little notebook. I always keep a notebook with me, but that notebook had to be with me 24/7, because so many ideas were just, they were just firing, like shots firing out of my head, and there were sparks all over the place. And it was just, oh my God, okay, let me write this down. Oh my God, let me write this down. And just, I was like, okay, now I'm feeling good, because I'm getting all of these ideas and things are beginning to resonate with me. And it was so much, I felt overwhelmed, because like I had pages upon pages upon pages of ideas and things and projects and to-do lists. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do so many things. And eventually, I remember going to a podcast workshop with Heneka Watkins Porter. I said, you know what? Let me just jump into this podcast thing, because I'll never know if I don't try. So I went to this workshop. And before the end of the workshop, something said to me, boss teacher. Call it the Boss Teacher Podcast. And I developed the concept of the podcast right then and there in the workshop. And I was telling Heneka about it, and she said, well, go for it. And what I started to do with that podcast is I started to interview other teachers who were also entrepreneurs. Because I was trying to figure out, how did you make it outside of the classroom? And some of them were still full-time teachers, but they had a side hustle that was growing and developing. And I wanted to know, how did you do it? So I ended up interviewing quite a few individuals on the podcast. And even as I worked through those conversations, I started to get even more ideas to navigate my own path. And then one day, the idea just landed in my lap. Julia, you're an educator. You've been teaching content and creating and producing content and facilitating all your life. There is this industry called online courses that you would be perfectly paired with. Why not do that? So I took my teaching skills and started to develop an online course training program. And that's how the whole concept of Course Vault came, because I'm like, I'm a teacher. I know how to do this. So I sat down, did a bit of a research, put all of the years of me being online that I had known of for like since 2014, and just created an outline for this program. And that's how the Course Vault program came to be, where I started to teach people how to build courses online. Because this is something that I've been doing from probably like 8 years now. Yeah, I was doing courses on and off for the past 8 years. I said, let me just do it. But prior to the online course, I remember very clearly in 2019, it was during the process of planning for the Boss Teacher Summit. This is a summit I hosted last January, and this was just to give teachers an opportunity to explore their other skills outside of the classroom. How can you earn more? Because every teacher has a dream of making more money. So how can you use the skills that you currently have to earn more outside of the classroom? That was the core concept of the Boss Teacher Summit. And I remember very clearly, this was January. December before that, the term position for purpose came to me. I wrote it down, didn't know what to do with it. And the Lord said to me, share everything that you have learned over the past few months and teach these individuals what you have learned. I'm like, okay, we're going to be talking about purpose. I don't know anything about purpose. I'm barely here trying to figure out mine, and I must go and teach people about purpose. I don't know. And so I was very, very hesitant to do that. I was very hesitant to do it. But it came on me so strongly that I had to. And so I remember in December of 2019, I advertised this program called Position for Purpose. Hi, Clementina! So, for people all the way from Africa joining us. Africa. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Clementina. I'm not butchering your home country like that. So the concept of Position for Purpose came to me where I'm supposed to teach people how to discover their purpose based on all the experiences that and all the notes I was making, all the strategies I had put together over the past few months. Like, I had only applied these to my life, and I was now being inspired to share. And I felt very inadequate. I must tell you, this thing called Imposter Syndrome is real. So I felt very inadequate, and I was hesitant to share. But because I felt so strongly about it, I decided to put it out there. I advertised it on social media. I think about 7 or 8 ladies joined the program. And this was like 2 months before. Like December, I marketed it. And I said to them, listen, I'm not going to be able to teach this program until February because I have stuff going on. I was planning an entire conference. So I advertised it in December, closed registration on December 31, and let them know, listen, y'all gonna have to wait till February before we do this thing. And I remember right after the Boss Teacher Summit at the end of January the following year, I took about 2 weeks off and I just prepared the program. All I had was an outline for 2 whole months. I sold the outline and I didn't do anything for another month and a half. 2 weeks before the program, I put the entire structure of the program together. Hey, we have audiences from Oh, Abu Dhabi. Hi, welcome. Digital Moments with Tarina. Hi, Tarina. Welcome. So I taught that program for the first time in February of 2020. And then I sold cohort two, taught another batch later on in 2020. And then I transitioned from teaching about purpose to focusing on online courses. And that went well for another year and a half, right? 2020, the rest of 2020 was all about online courses. The beginning of 2021, but all was all about online courses. And I blatantly um put out a message, or I posted something to my audience, and I said, for the rest of 2021, I'm only going to be concerned with my clients who are putting together their online courses. And I was dead serious. I was so zoned in on teaching people how to build out their online courses that that's all I wanted to do. And that's where my focus was. And earlier this year, I like it was about April. I announced to a group of I was speaking at an event, a marketing conference, and I don't know how it came up, but I told everybody at that time that I was pregnant, and everybody was like, "Yeah, Julia, congratulations, yada yada yada." A few weeks later, after I told everybody excitedly, and everybody in my household, my mother, everybody was just ridiculously excited. This was about April this year. A few weeks after that, I vanished off of social media. I vanished off social media because I lost that child, and it threw my body into just a whirlwind. For about 2 months, I did absolutely nothing but lay down in my bed, eat, bathroom, back to my bed. And during that whole ordeal of just being down and out, not being able to function the way I normally function, is like the idea of position for purpose came back to me again so strongly, it got me nervous. I don't know if you guys ever had those spiritual experiences where you feel like this is definitely what needs to be done. That's what happened to me. And so it was so serious that as I am getting up in the mornings, I'm having devotions and whatnot, like I would just be inspired to write stuff down, and I'd be sitting there with my book for a whole half an hour just taking notes. Like stuff is just being downloaded in my brain. I'm taking notes and I say, okay, this is for position for purpose. And so I advertised cohort 3 and 4. Cohort 3 is very unique because they are the closest people to me. So it's not a cohort I advertise, but we've been going together for the past. Like it's been so long, I don't even know how long we've been doing this thing. It should have been a 3 month program. We've been together for way more than 3 months because they're near and dear to my heart. But I advertised cohort 4, and for cohort 4 of this program, it's a lot of the content is updated. And if you've been a part of cohort 1 and 2, you're missing out on a few stuff. So you have the invitation to join us in cohort 4, where we're having a fabulous time. But I've updated the program, and updated the program just based off of all of that download I got during that 2 months downtime. And so I was so inspired to continue along that path. So as a teacher, I am seeing where I am now able, 37 years on this planet, I am now able to use all of my life experiences. And when I say all of them, I mean all of them, because I share some very intimate stories inside of that program that just, it always blows me away how people are inspired by my journey. I'm literally using all of my life experiences, every single principle that I've learned to take me to the place that I am today, all of the strategies that I have used, all of the activities that I have either accumulated or come up with myself, and I share them inside of the program. And I realize that my purpose is linked, 100% linked to helping other people discover their purpose, meaning, and fulfillment in life. Thank you, Tarina. Thank you so much for that. Um, and so it's weird because I started out feeling very inadequate for wanting to teach people about purpose. I didn't feel like the Les Brown or the Lisa Nichols or the Miles Monroe of our day. I didn't feel like that. I felt very inadequate. I felt like I was being an imposter for trying to do this. But every single time I teach this program, I realize why I need to continue. And last night, they drew me out. We had class last night, and they said to me, one of the suggestions that was made in the class, that this needs to be like, I have single people in the program and I have couples in the program. And the suggestion was that I need to open up the course for couples. Because like the people who are in the program by themselves, it's like they're trying to explain the stuff to their spouse and their spouse not getting it. Like the spouse not getting it the way they got it. So it's like, okay, Julia, you need to make this a couples thing. So like anybody who becomes a part of your program, they need to draw their spouse in. And I thought to myself, wow, that's so powerful. Because going back to my experience again, that is how I am able to take myself to this very place. Because it was through work, dedication, and just being in sync with myself and my husband. We are so in sync on everything. It's not funny. Well, not everything, but yeah. You know what I mean? Most things. We're in sync on most things. And I think that has been a big part of our progression and really enjoying the work that both of us are doing in this world today. So yeah, my journey to purpose took me 33 years at first, and then over the past 4 years has evolved into helping others discover their life purpose. I say all of that to say this. One, these are the lessons from my life experience. One, don't be afraid to try something new. I've done so many things in the past. I've been into entrepreneurship. I've been in teaching. I've worked as a customer service rep. I've worked as a HR rep. I've worked as a bag wrapper. Every Christmas, every summer, I'm at the haberdashery where my mother works. I'm wrapping gifts. I am getting tips. I am helping to stock the shelves. All kind of things. Don't be afraid to try something new, because you never know that experience is going to lead you directly into purpose. When I started to get excited about just the whole concept of the internet, I didn't know it would take me here to, in the middle of a pandemic, still being able to operate a business in the digital space. I didn't know that, but it excited me. It brought me joy. And so I continued to pursue it. So if there's something that you are feeling the nudge to do and to get involved and to immerse yourself in, just do it. If it even lasts for 2 months, a year, it doesn't matter. You never know when those experiences are going to propel you into purpose in the future. That's one. Number two, never ever stop learning. Never ever stop learning. I feel like I'm learning every single day. Like today, I was in a training. I'm in an advanced speaker training program, and these guys gave us an activity to do that I give my students all the time. And if you are signed up for the free training that I offer at mypurposeroadmap.com, if you're not there, why are you not there, by the way? It's inside of lesson 2. Inside of lesson 2, I give you a specific activity to help you identify your expertise. And interestingly, I was on a training this morning and they gave us that exact activity, but from a different perspective. And I'm like, shucks, I did not realize that I could look at this activity that way. So it's like my mind was blown this morning in class. And I'm like, okay, position for purpose, here we come. Because I'm definitely going to give you all that activity to do. Because it was so powerful. So never stop learning. The more you learn, the more you're able to improve your life. The more you're able to improve your life. The third thing, and this is something that we talked about last night inside of class, was just how you have to outgrow a certain group of your friends. And don't feel ashamed that you have outgrown certain friends, because when you're moving towards purpose, some people may not be ready, and them not being ready means that they cannot come with you on that journey. Because if they come, they're going to drag you down. They're literally going to pull you back to where you're coming from. And I said that because when I thought about a lot of the friends that I had associated with over the years, some of us have grown apart. Geographical distances have kept us apart, but there are some friends that I clearly see that could not have come on this journey with me. So do not be hung up on the fact that, oh, I don't want to leave these friends behind. I want to keep them, they're so close to me. They might not be ready to come with you. But if it is to be that they will catch up with you later on, it will. Or they will come. So don't let that discourage you. Don't feel bad about it, because I know sometimes you had your friends from high school or college or whatever, and you're like, oh, it feels away. But don't let that stop you, because your happiness is more important. Your peace is more important. Your sanity is more important. And those are the things that I tend to use to evaluate. Does this feel, am I at peace with this decision that I'm about to make? And so when I jumped full-fledged into a position for purpose, teaching people how to really discover their purpose, I felt completely at peace with that decision. Right? And you want to make sure that you're taking steps that are in alignment with what you know is going to make you feel happy, fulfilled, and at peace. And so when you get up every day, giggling and smiling because you're excited about work, that's how you know you are walking in purpose. When you get up, and even when you're not making any money today or tomorrow, and you still feel good, that's how you know you're walking in purpose. And you also have to understand that purpose doesn't necessarily mean profit. That's for another life, y'all. But purpose does not mean profit 100% of the time. Let's talk about that another day. Let me just write it down right now. We're gonna talk about that on a live one day. Purpose does not equal to profit. We're gonna talk about that another day. So, I hope that was able to inspire you. I hope that you see your future differently just from listening and hearing my stories. I saw a lot of people in the comments were saying, yo, this is me. That's the same way I'm feeling. Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I'm so open about sharing my story, because I know where I've been. I know where I'm going. And I know that people are all the same. When you think about it, we're all the same deep down. We might have different names, different skin tones, but deep within the depths of our hearts, we have the same struggles, we have the same issues, we have the same worries, we have the same pains, and we all want to get to purpose, happiness, and fulfillment. So I hope that inspires you. Take the lessons that I've shared. Make sure you go to mypurposeroadmap.com. That's the free 4-part training that I share with you, an overview of the process that I went through to discover my purpose, the process that I go in depth in with my clients inside of the Position of a Purpose program. And even if you never become a client of mine, still go through the training. It's going to help you tremendously. So mypurposeroadmap.com. We have a community on Facebook that has been growing like beyond my wildest dreams. Like when I'm accustomed to seeing groups grow very slowly. This might be relative, but they're like almost, what was the last time I checked? Quite a number of persons inside the group already. I'm literally admitting people into the group every single day. I never imagined in my wildest dream that this would be so impactful, but I'm happy. And it's also a testament to the fact that I'm walking in purpose. Because when you're walking in purpose, you see amazing impact. That's another thing. You see the impact clearly. It's so clear. All right, so that's all I want to share with you today. This live was way longer than I anticipated. I had planned for 15 minutes. It's been 45. And we're still here. But be inspired. Go to mypurposeroadmap.com and just start using those activities that I share. Execute on the information and just watch your life change, watch your life transform. All right, so I'll see you on Thursday, same time, for another live where we talk about just living abundantly, purposefully, living in fulfillment, happiness, and peace. That's what I want for me. That's what I want to teach you how to do. All right. So take care, guys, and have a blessed rest of the week. Toodles. Bye, Instagram. Bye, YouTube. Bye, Facebook.